Ancient alchemists dreamed of creating tiny little people called homunculi. They believed that these creatures would reveal to them the secrets of the universe, that they would be able to turn lead into gold, and would deliver unto them the illustrious Philosopher's Stone, which can endow one with immortality. And most importantly, they dreamed that these homunculi would gift them with all of their secrets, making their creators all-powerful. The alchemists worked day and night, sweating over their cauldrons in the hopes of brewing for their homunculus an ideal nutrient broth, a cozy nursery bath in which to grow. Even one of the most enlightened doctors of the 16th century, Paracelsus, could not resist engaging in such experiments. He attempted to replace the human womb with an egg or a mixture of sawdust, compost, and manure. But alas, 'twas all in vain. Only recently has it finally become possible to grow a living creature in an artificial environment. According to scientists' forecasts, a synthetic uterus for some mammals should emerge in the next 5 years, and man not long after, by 2025. Is it really possible to grow a full-fledged Homo sapiens in an artificial womb? And what will our offspring born of incubators be like? Will they be sickly freaks, or wonderful, all-powerful masters of the future? In 1880, obstetrician Stephen Tarnier produced the first ever incubator for premature babies. In point of fact, it was just a wooden box with a storage compartment for a bottle of warm water. Nevertheless, astoundingly, such a simple design made it possible to reduce the mortality rate among infants by almost half. Today's incubators still help save preterm infants, but they are as yet imperfect. Modern incubation devices are capable of supporting the life of a child no younger than 22 weeks, or about 5 months. In addition, 80% of babies born in the 23rd week or earlier die. And in that 20% of survivors, developmental delays and various defects occur. Those babies who enter the incubator before the 28th week, or 6.5 months, often have developmental problems with their brains, as it is this organ that takes the longest to mature. From the year 1960, the first attempts were made to design more advanced incubators that could reproduce all of the functions of the uterus. In these experiments, embryos of rabbits, lambs, and goats were used, but every single time the researchers ultimately failed. The embryos perished from infections, organ and other system failures, and a variety of other factors. Only recently have scientists finally come close to creating a working, fully artificial womb. An innovative incubator has been developed at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, using the same basic technology as that used in test incubators to grow perfectly healthy lambs. This artificial womb is something like a giant plastic bag filled with a special amniotic-like liquid, connected to which are tubes for oxygen and vital substances. The device is quite similar to a real uterus. In earlier testing, scientists had placed in such an environment the embryos of sheep, which corresponded to the end of the 5th month of a woman's pregnancy, between 22 to 24 weeks. As time went on, a subject lamb would open its mouth, then its eyes, and then its skin would gradually thicken. It would then proceed to grow a baby lamb's hairy coat, eventually becoming covered with wool. In other words, it passed through a normal process of fetal development. Additionally, researchers at the University of Tokyo, over a number of years, successfully carried out similar experiments with goat embryos. And at the University of Nottingham in Great Britain, researchers created an innovative polymer vessel that mimics the soft tissues of the uterus. According to scientists, new technologies will soon allow us to generate true miracles. Director of the Mammoth Museum in Yakutsk, Russia, one Semyon Grigoriev, with the help of his team of researchers, hopes to give life to one of these long-extinct prehistoric beasts. To return living mammoths to our world, according to the paleontologist, it would be enough now to simply find cells with the complete mammoth DNA. Previously, a significant problem existed in finding a surrogate mother animal which could carry a mammoth baby to term. The problem is that even the largest modern-day elephants are much smaller than were mammoths. Additionally, the baby would have been born not a thoroughbred mammoth, but a half-breed, half elephant and half mammoth. But thanks to the invention of an artificial uterus, it should soon be possible to grow a mammoth with a pure pedigree, as it were, or even a giant mastodon if we can find the genetic material. And perhaps one day on our planet, there will be entire herds of these prehistoric animals roaming the land. They are already perfectly adapted to life in the harsh tundra and might even provide us with a new, tasty and healthy meat. According to some researchers, tens of thousands of years of our living side by side with mammoths has led to their meat being the best absorbed and digested by the human stomach and digestive system. The artificial uterus will also help return to us other representatives of vanished fauna. For example, Steller's sea cow. It's a giant water mammal completely wiped out in the 18th century by hunters in the Commander Islands in the Bering Sea between Russia and Alaska. Or perhaps we could bring back the extinct marsupial known as the Tasmanian wolf, which once roamed the wilderness in Australia. A version of this amazing plastic womb could even become capable of being a vessel for chimeras, creatures having a mixture of genes from different animals. Not so long ago, researchers created an interspecies hybrid of a sheep and a goat, and also a camel and a llama. Now they want to cross a lion and a tiger, and a mink and a ferret. But progress is slow. Biologists are already quite good at cooking up chimeric embryos, but alas, not so good at getting them to develop properly. But the artificial uterus, according to futurists, should remove all previous biological barriers. An artificial womb should be able to tolerate any creature imaginable, from a frog the size of a hippopotamus to a cross between a hedgehog and a snake, or even a human hybrid crossed with, say, a pig, a monkey, or a horse. Of course, experimenters are not limited to just wild animals. A race has been launched to see who can first create a technology for the artificial incubation of human beings. Some enterprising American, Korean, and European teams have already dashed off from the starting line. An interesting project has been developed by scientists at the Center for Reproductive Medicine and Artificial Insemination at Cornell University. Using stem cells taken from women, the American team managed to grow a semblance of a female womb. Into it were placed artificially impregnated embryos, which successfully attached themselves to the walls of this lab-grown uterus. True, the researchers quickly halted the experiment due to moral and ethical considerations and constraints. But today, a great deal of other research has been implemented in labs around the world, which means that, sooner or later, an artificial womb will appear on the world market of medical innovations. Interestingly, an artificial womb could protect babies from a multitude of misfortunes they might otherwise encounter before being born. A baby born from such a womb will be completely free from the negative impacts of stress, poor nutrition, alcohol, drugs, or any medications that a mother might be taking. In an artificial uterus, under automated computer control, there will be an almost ideal environment for proper growth. In addition, infertile married couples or people of advanced age will now be able to have children. Moreover, there will be no need for surrogate mothers, which often results in controversy as to who the true parents of the child are. Finally, the artificial uterus will free women from having to undergo and endure the often difficult process of pregnancy and childbirth. This will allow them more time to stay at work, for example, and to have more successful careers. However, not all women consider pregnancy in such a negative light. Many expecting mothers speak of the wonderful experience of having a child, a human life, develop inside of them. And it's also quite natural that they enjoy the special attention and care of their families during this period. And many doctors believe that pregnancy has a beneficial effect on a woman's body. For example, most mothers who give birth to boys acquire some male DNA in their bodies, and this helps prevent the development of Alzheimer's disease. Most likely, this DNA escapes from the womb of the mother during pregnancy. This conclusion was reached by scientists at the Fred Hutchinson Center for Cancer Research in the USA. And according to the results of research by other scientists, early births help mothers develop resistance to breast cancer. When the time comes and children begin to be born from incubators, there will be a multitude of moral, ethical, legal, social, and psychological issues and problems to deal with. For example, after an abortion, if the fetus is not placed into an artificial womb, that is, if an embryo is not intentionally and proactively saved, Will that be considered murder? So says Scott Gelfand, director of the Center for Ethics at Oklahoma State University. Just in the U.S., about 1 million abortions are performed each year. Even in such a rich country as the USA, it wouldn't be easy, or maybe even possible, to build and maintain a system of so many medical facilities that could accept these 1 million embryos every year. And as time goes by, would we have to deal with millions of socially disorganized children entering into society who have been deprived of parental love and guardianship? And who will raise them? Society will have to find a way to house them, feed them, raise them, providing all kinds of treatment, and of course education. This will result in the need for exorbitant expenditures of time, effort, and money. Artificial incubation of children could also finish off the already fragile institution of the family. Imagine, men will be able to have offspring without the participation of a mother. It will only be necessary to find an egg donor, carry out in vitro fertilization, and entrust the synthetic uterus to bear the child. In this situation, men would no longer have that powerful incentive to marry for the sake of passing on their genes. In addition, it might become very difficult to determine just who the true parents of a child are. Examples of such dilemmas already exist. Recently, UK authorities began to allow hospitals to perform artificial insemination using the DNA of 3 different parents. This procedure allows a woman with serious genetic abnormalities to become pregnant without the fear of passing on the unhealthy genes to the fetus. The new technology replaces the damaged DNA with the genetic material from the second mother. Such a case will likely one day end up in court. We still have time to resolve some of these disputes and solve some of these problems. But if we don't, as in Aldous Huxley's novel Brave New World, the incubators could one day simply churn out a relentless stream of unexceptional, dull, and socially deprived beings. True, each individual will have some useful skill to offer society, but do we really want the human race to become nothing more than pathetically similar beings, no better than robots? It's better to prepare the soil in advance so that people full of creative ideas, people that are truly needed in a healthy society, are a product of the artificial wombs. Only in such a way will our society of the future move our civilization to ever greater heights.